This is the Mazz and Bads Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.
Folks, welcome back in. Oh, Mazz.
I'm so sorry. I actually had to cough on that.
That was the worst possible timing.
I know, but the fake cough led to an actual cough. I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry.
Welcome back to the Mazz and Bad Show, episode 22, coming at you fast. Sorry we missed you last week, but need a little holiday reset just to kind of get our minds fresh for a new chapter, you know? Mazz, how we doing?
That was it. We had a bitch session. Let's just say what it was.
Yeah.
We went on. We were all ready.
We hopped on with the intention of recording.
And then it just ended up being a powwow of how much we hate applying for jobs. That's it. And how this glim outlook is not what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But here we are. We survive. We try to prosper. And 2025 is going to be the year of Mazz and Bads.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
not together. Maybe separate. I don't know. But we're landing jobs this year. Or we're doing this full time.
Keeping our fingers crossed and our eyes on the stars.
Yeah.
Right? Eye in the sky.
I don't know where you're going with this one.
That's my bad.
Shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land amongst the stars.
Yeah, that's what I was
All
thinking
that
of.
good crap, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. No, that just means it didn't happen.
It means you're shooting over. Actually, if you don't shoot, you don't miss. You're 100% accuracy.
There's nothing that goes down in the stat line if you don't take the shot. It's an NA. It's not available.
We got some questions for Wayne Gretzky. Okay.
I was thinking more basketball, but I hear you.
Well, it's a hockey quote.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a Wayne Gretzky quote.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
No way.
Have you never seen The Office?
No.
It's Michael Scott has on his board written, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take," and it says, "Quote Wayne Gretzky, quote Michael Scott." Like on his little whiteboard.
Do you think I'm gonna trust Michael Scott on where the quote came from?
It's true.
I'm looking into this right now.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. So we're going to change some things up a little bit today. Usually we're coming at you on a Tuesday or Wednesday with a full game recap breakdown, but got some interesting topics to get into. Things we think we can divulge into and spend some time talking about, debating, and while Mazz is fact checking my quote source, I'll just open things up with the first topic, and that's the current MVP race, which is really, really heating up right now across the league. You got guys like, Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson still in the mix, and it's going to be a really tight race all the way down to the end. And as I'm currently pulling up the odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, as of right now, the odds-on favorite to win MVP is Josh Allen at -280, which is a pretty heavy favorite. Pretty heavy favorite.
As he should. He's been the best player for me just consistently this season. The only person that I honestly want to hear in the conversation right this second is Saquon Barkley. I'm not even hating on Lamar. Everybody knows how I feel about what happened last year. I'm not saying that Lamar's never earned an MVP. That first one that he had was absolutely 100% deserving. Last year should have been Dak. If we're just looking at how guys have been affecting their teams, what they've been working with, and where they've been elevating, yeah, Lamar was killing it the first couple of weeks, but it's been Josh Allen, whether it's in the snow, whether it's scoring it himself, whether it's catching touchdown passes, throwing them, he does it all. He's literally the sole reason why the Bills are looking like the best team in football.
Yeah, and I think it's so much more impressive when you take into account how they came into this season. People were a bit down on them. They were expecting them to take a step back following losing Stephon Diggs, losing Micah Hyde, losing a lot of those veteran defensive pieces. And here they are at 9-2, nipping at their 10-2, nipping at the Chiefs' ass for that first seed in the conference.
And honestly, who would have thought? Chemistry plays such a big factor. I don't want to blame Stephon Diggs, but, they cleared out some guys, and they were like, hey, everybody thinks that we're taking a step back. We actually feel like we're better. Now, normally teams tend to say that, and you're like, BS. I called BS. I thought that they were 100% not going to be this. I thought that they were going to be third in that division, maybe sneak into the playoffs in a wild card, but I had no idea that they were going to be, soaring to the moon, so to speak. And they haven't even unlocked the full potential of the Amari Cooper trade. When that gets going, I mean, I think teams are actually in for a run for their money, more so than they've been, dare I say, all the way.
So, as you talked about, the only other guy I would really give like actual other consideration, taking Lamar out of the conversation, is Saquon Barkley, and that's just because the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, they were 10-2 at this point last year too, but it's a different feel around the team of the direction they're heading, and the offense runs through Saquon Barkley. The last few years, it's been the Jalen Hurts show, where it's been he's got to make a play with his legs, he's got to push it downfield for the Eagles to score some points. But the addition of Saquon Barkley has just taken this Eagles team to the next level. And,
no, absolutely.
And it's dangerous. It's really, really dangerous for the rest of those teams in the NFC conference.
Well, that's what happens when you actually have an established running game, right? It takes pressure off your quarterback. You can hit a bit of those play actions. You can still use Jalen Hurts' leg power just in different settings. Not everybody's always expecting it. It's not taking as much wear and tear on him. When Saquon's taking the bulk of those hits, it just opens up the rest of that offense, especially not only just taking the bulk of the hits, quite literally just gapping defenses left and right. I mean, it is highlight play after highlight play, backwards hurdles, long runs, you name it. He, for my money, is the best running back in the NFL. Derrick Henry's right behind him, but when you can add in him into the passing game, although it was the one play that kind of cost him because he couldn't catch the pass. But nonetheless, they've really turned things around in Philly. Sirianni has proven once again, I not only can I coach, you give me the right personnel, I can take you for the long ride. And I think that the moves that they made this offseason, along with him just retuning that defense, bringing in new coordinators, it's gotten new lives to Philly, and that's why them and the Bills are my favorites for the Super Bowl right now. I think the Chiefs aren't trending in the right direction, even though they keep on winning in questionable fashion. What else is new? But when you look at the rest of the teams, it just seems like everybody that was, going up kind of hit that crescendo point, and they're starting to trend down a little bit compared to the other two.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't count out the Chiefs just because, dude, I mean,
No.
We were saying the same thing last year around this time. I mean, they were winning in questionable ways. They weren't always producing at a high enough clip. The defense was the bright spot of the team. I mean, it's the exact same setup as last season's Super Bowl run. So you're never going to count them out, and I never will. And yeah, the Eagles look great right now. The Lions have looked better this season. I know they're banged up to hell. I know they were losing defensive players every other snap on Thanksgiving this past week, but I still just think they have that secret sauce. I like Dan Campbell as a coach and his coaching staff more than I like Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. I think I still give the Lions a slight edge in the NFC, but it's hard to go against what you're saying with the Bills because they are easily playing the best football in the AFC right now. They are blowing teams out of the water.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, you looked at it, like, I know I always use, like, the old cliche of location, weather matters, and it does. And if they secure home field advantage, especially in these, as the time goes on for the season, it only gets more colder. I think it benefits them. They're playing outside. Like, nobody's going to want to go up to Orchard Park and have to face them. It's just something that you don't want to do. It's a hell of an atmosphere, and it's freezing cold, and it's something that Josh has literally proved. It could be a blizzard, and I'm still going to let that thing fly.
Well, other quarterbacks in the AFC that have proved that Orchard Park isn't always the most difficult place to play in the postseason. Just to name a few, of course, Patrick Mahomes has found a way to win there on the road in the playoffs. Joe Burrow 2 years ago found a way to win on the road in the playoffs there. So I don't know if it's as daunting as a home field advantage as you're making it out to be right now, but definitely still always important to have that home field advantage.
But what was the difference with those teams than where they are now of why I don't feel that's going to happen? There was an elite offense for the Chiefs. It's not an elite offense right now. It's a good defense. It's a really great defense, and that offense is doing enough, but I would not call it elite, so I'm loving to see how that plans out. I think even with the moves gone, dare I say, this is the best that the Bills' defense has looked maybe ever in the Josh Allen era. And you look at, speaking of defense, Cincinnati has none. So even if they put up points, they ain't stopping nobody. Charlie, you might score a touchdown from the 10-yard line with that defense looking at you, you know? So it's a whole new facet to this of, yes, maybe it's not what it used to be in the future, but now Buffalo seems to be hitting their stride when everybody else is stuck in the sand. You know, some more than others. And obviously you can never count out Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying it's not the same Patrick that we've seen, right? Maybe he turns it up, maybe he doesn't. I'm never going to bet against him. I'm just saying I'm not giving flowers for something that you ain't doing.
Fair enough. That just reminded me, we just got past our MVP topic, but I just want to give a shout out to Joe Burrow, who's having a career year with the Bengals right now. 30 touchdowns to 5 picks, 3,300 passing yards, 67% completion percentage, and his defense continuously just will give up 30 points on the regular every week. I feel so bad because it's just this season's going to go down in the history books as one of those years that's like, man, what if like Mazz, do you remember the 2010 Chargers?
Yes, sir.
Number one statistically on offense, and didn't even crack the postseason.
Well, number one statistically on defense, their special teams is what cost them.
Is that what? Yeah, okay. I've seen that. I've seen that before. Yeah. So I guess that's not exactly the same scenario here with these Bengals, because obviously their defense is just absolutely dreadful. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to Joe Burr because he's having a career year.
No, 100%. But if we're gonna shout out quarterbacks, and I think obviously now we're near like MVP numbers like Joe Burrow, but maybe stability for what a franchise exactly needed. I gotta shout out my man Russell Wilson, bro. I mean, He's just been looking exactly what the Steelers have needed. I mean, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception going against Cincinnati. I mean, that's huge. He looked absolutely dominant. Throwing on the run, tight windows. I mean, he looked like Seattle Russ back at it again. The question is, does Pittsburgh give him the long-term deal with Justin Fields, who's looked decent at times, waiting in the wings?
So it's interesting because both of them are going to be free agents at the end of the season, Fields and Russell Wilson. So I don't see them bringing both back just because I think Fields is going to not see like a major contract, but he's going to get like quarterback money this year, and the Steelers aren't going to be able to afford to pay the both of them at the same time. So I think they'll stick with Russ. I don't know about how long term of a deal, maybe 2-3 years, but I think you bring Russ back into the fold. You let Justin go test the market and go get a quarterback in the draft this year. So not necessarily round 1, but day 2, get a guy to wait in the wings behind Russ.
If you're Fields, though, what is your options in terms of, like, if you're I think your best place to even have a chance at starting is still in Pittsburgh, you know? Looking at this quarterback market, right, it's maybe Jacksonville if they decide to move on from Trevor Lawrence, down the line, but there's really no other place that I don't think the Jets are going to be looking at Justin Fields as a coveted prize. Carolina seems to already, we're sticking with Bryce. See what happens there. I just don't see places that are going to be in on him. So
sorry to sidetrack once again, but shout out Bryce Young as well. He's having a fantastic resurgence these last few games. I think everyone owes him a little bit of an apology. Just a little bit.
Sure. No, I can agree with you, but it's not going to be a destination for Justin Fields, is what I'm saying. So, Tennessee, maybe. So I don't even think they're going to want that.
I'll give you some teams right now. Las Vegas is looking for a quarterback next year. That could be a place where Justin Fields can ingratiate himself, prove a deal, and try and make some production, win some games out there. Giants going to need a veteran quarterback because everyone knows they're going round 1 taking a guy, but they're going to need a veteran backup. New Orleans Saints, if they move off of Derek Carr, potentially.
I just don't see it, man. I don't even see them moving off from Carr. And even if they do, I don't know. I don't think they're bringing in Justin Fields.
So maybe the quarterback landscape isn't as robust as we once thought it was, but
so the problem is that you have this draft class that everybody seems to like at quarterback. Some people say it's not that good. Other people are like, yo, I want those quarterbacks. So it all depends on what teams want to do. I think the teams that are looking to go quarterback want a brand new start. They want nothing that's, if I can't have one of the top 10 guys, I want something brand new. I don't want something that hasn't lived up to even top 15, you know? So I feel bad for Fields because you're in this situation where if you would just have the patience, I really think it works out long term for you. And I wish that they would use him more in certain settings, like the red zone. I think the Steelers are sitting on a gold mine, and even though they're looking really good with that record. What is it now, 9-2? It is the fact that you have to still entice these guys before they leave you. There is absolute use in Justin Fields in a red zone setting, hitting some read options, just bringing him in, maybe even like a Taysom Hill kind of dual quarterback play of just like, yeah, you're going to be taking a lot more hits, but we're going to use you in certain situations. Just making sure that he gets on the field, still wants to be there. Because I promise you, if he can, I've said this before, Charlie, if he can just learn the type of throw to throw in situations, because I feel like he always makes the right throw to the guy. He just he guns it when it should have been lobbed over. He lobs over when it should have been gunned. He does not put the right touch on the ball. If he can just learn that, I think he could be the franchise quarterback for the Steelers. However, you're sitting behind Russ, who's a legend of the game, borderline Hall of Famer down the line, and you just got to wait your turn. I know it's so hard, but I promise you, you want to be in Pittsburgh if you're Justin Fields, because all those other teams, they're not better situations. Yeah, you might see the field, but you also might see the field and be out of the league way faster because there's not going to be anything to work with.
So that's my only thing with Justin Fields is I think if he was as good as people say he is and has as much potential as you think he does, I really think he'd be starting somewhere right now. I really do. And the fact that he's not, the fact that he's the backup in Pittsburgh says a lot to me. And I think you're right, though. If he does want to try and have a sustained career, sustained success in the league, his best bet would be to stay in Pittsburgh and keep developing behind Russ. I think would be really good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he could go, let's say, to Tennessee right now, and yeah, maybe they may win an extra game or two, but I don't think there's enough things on offense that's going to help him win. It would just be like another Chicago.
All right, quarterbacks. There's so much to talk about, and we'll unpack more later on as the season comes to a close, because there should be a lot of movement this offseason coming up.
I expect this to be one of the biggest off seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. I just think that the teams are finally realizing we absolutely hate where we are, and it's time to shake things up.
So speaking of a team that might need to shake things up, the San Francisco 49ers are having quite the disappointing season right now. 5-7 at the bottom of the NFC West right now. Just a season from hell with all these injuries they've faced to their All-Pro and Pro Bowl caliber players. Just to name a few, Christian McCaffrey missed the first, 8 games of the season with those Achilles tendonitis, and then plays 3 games, gets a PCL knee injury, out for the season. Fred Warner fractured his ankle. He's trying his best to play through it, but it's not really working out too great. Brandon Ayuk, torn ACL. It's just not been great for them, and it all came to a head Sunday night against Buffalo, where they got their doors blown off by the Bills in the snow, and the season's over, man. I mean, I know they're sitting at 5-7 right now, but the NFC is a bloodbath this season. I mean, the Washington Commanders are the 7th seed wild card, and they have 8 wins. 8 wins. That's just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, this has been quite the shocker. Some things we've been right on the hit the nail on the head. Other things like this, don't ever sit there and tell me you saw this coming for San Francisco. No. I mean, they paid everybody that they should have. The only move that I would have liked to have seen that I disagreed with was they should have got Brandon Ayuk out of there. Not because of the injury, just because of just where the relationship went to. I didn't see that necessarily working out. When he signed the deal, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what? But nonetheless, they've done everything else right in my book. And even that wasn't even like an egregious thing. I thought that relationship was just so tarnished that you should have moved on from it. But nonetheless, I felt like they've made every right move. They paid the right guys. They brought in the right personnel. And it's just, I don't know if it's due to usage or what. I think it's just literally bad luck of this many injuries. This was supposed to be their year. And nobody saw. Like, yes, McCaffrey has injury history as long as any of them. but nobody saw the tendonitis coming out of. Where did that even come from? Like, poor guy.
It was
and then comes back.
literally week one. Before that Jet game, it was like, oh, by the way, CMC's got this tendonitis. He's not going to play, and he's also going to be out for the first at least 4 games of the season.
And then, even that Buffalo game, he was looking pretty good, dude. He hurt him a couple of times, and then just boom, It is so unfortunate, and particularly for him, a buddy of mine, Logan, shout out Logan, mentioned, is he the Bo Jackson of our era? And, dude, he might be. It is. I will forever wonder what could have been of CMC. Like, yes, he played way more than Bo. Yes, we know the heights that he was capable of reaching, but besides Saquon and Derrick Henry, like, he was, not only was he 100% the number 1 overall pick because nobody but the organization knew about the damn injury for fantasy, he's been the consensus number 1 back, I feel like, for the last couple of years. I've been making an argument for Henry, but, I feel like most people would say CMC just because of the usage in the passing game, and it's just a derailed career, man. I even if he comes back, it's not going to be the same. It's always going to be, any team that wants to take a chance on him, it's always going to be, damn, we're not paying for it. This is a giant question mark. And it's just so unfortunate because he's truly one of the greatest talents I think we've ever seen. Just can't stay healthy.
I agree with you. One of the best talents we've seen from an offensive standpoint, just elite on both the running game and the passing game. And to be quite frank with you, comparing him to Bo Jackson is disrespectful to Christian McCaffrey. Because Bo Jackson, as talented and as great of a player as he is, only played 4 seasons in pro football. Never once eclipsed 1,000 yards rushing. Never once had more than 5 rushing touchdowns in a season. And never once eclipsed 130 receiving yards in a season. Christian McCaffrey has 8 seasons under his belt with 4 seasons above 1,000 rushing yards. 3 seasons above, 7 seasons above 6 rushing touchdowns. And that's not even getting to his receiving numbers, where he's had a 1K season. So, yeah, Christian McCaffrey, he might be cooked. With all these injuries that have piled up over his career, just in his legs, all across his body, it might be over for him in his prime. But his stretch of production he had from his Carolina days all the way to those Niners playoff runs, just unreal. And I think should be a Hall of Famer.
That's a question. I don't.
Is it really? I mean, he's Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Does he have a better bid for you over Russell Wilson?
Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got the accolades. 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, Offensive Player of the Year. Russ has never won anything besides the one Super Bowl that he was carried in. Let's be frank. Let's be real. He's never really accomplished much in this league, and I'll double check that. But let's see. I mean, 1-time Super Bowl champion, 9-time Pro Bowler, respect. Never been a first-team All-Pro. Never even been a second-team All-Pro. And also, no
second-team All-Pro 2019.
Okay, all right. My apologies. One second-team All-Pro.
Yeah.
But still, the accolades don't match up. They don't.
It's just I coveted that Super Bowl, and it's all about winning at the end of the day.
I know, and the Super Bowl looks great on the resume, Mazz. But do you remember that Super Bowl? The only one that's ever been played in New Jersey?
Yeah, what?
He didn't do much.
Marshawn Lynch was the man.
Marshawn Lynch was the man. Percy Harvin was the man. That defense was the man. Yeah. Come on.
Apparently that team had a lot of struggles, like that Legion of Boom, because Pete Carroll was very favoritive of Russell Wilson, and then apparently they were like, dude, we're the real moneymaker. Look at the impact that we're having, and there was some internal strife going on in Seattle.
Well, hence the following Super Bowl where Pete Carroll tried to make Russell Wilson the hero and tried to make him the Super Bowl MVP.
You will never convince me. I don't care if they catch the ball. It's not a good decision. It's like you have a powerhouse running back who's the best power runner in the league at that time. on the 1 yard line. He just got you down there. It's first and goal, and you don't slam it. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Anyway, Mazz, we got a couple head coach openings right now. As of this moment in time, as of December 4th, 2024 at 1:23 p.m., the New York Jets have a head coach opening. The New Orleans Saints have a head coach opening, although Rizzi, I think is his name, has been making a case to keep that job. He's been coaching very well down in New Orleans. And then, of course, this past week, after the Thanksgiving debacle that happened to the Bears, Matt Eberflus was fired. And that is nowhere near, I mean, the total number of head coaching jobs that we're going to see come January, Black Monday. But can we talk about some of the most, like, wanted, or, you know, you think about some of the hottest candidates for becoming a head coach. Like, you think of Ben Johnson for the Detroit Lions, who's the hot shot play caller right now. The last 2 years, he has turned down positions. He turned down head coaching of the Carolina Panthers, the Washington Commanders last year. He's going to be one of the most sought-after candidates, and he's very selective. If you were him, Mazz, what would be the number one job you're looking for when you're picking out your head coaching destination?
Dude, that is... If I'm looking for a team that is somewhat already established, you know. I could be a little bit enticed by the Jets, although I was kind of weary on it just because I don't think that's what the Jets need. But for him personally, I'm looking at a team where it's like there's not much to build on the offensive side because I'm known for being an offensive genius. I got to live up to that. If the defense is giving up, that's not necessarily going to be reflected of me because that's not my specialty. So I think Chicago should be enticing him. I know it's probably not going to because, you know, the whole Detroit connection and he doesn't want to play against it. But that's an offense where it's like, you know, bright young quarterback that absolutely can be molded into what you want. You have veteran pieces that can help you. I think
Weapons
Chicago... You know what I'm saying? I think Chicago should be, for him, that number one destination. You should not be afraid of going up against, you know, Dan Campbell and them boys, who I know has a special meaning to him. I mean, didn't leave the past 2 seasons because he believed in what they were doing. But for me, I just don't know how you don't look at that and be, that's the spot. Because I'm sorry, Las Vegas is a place that people are talking about. There's no way they should be moving on from their head coach. So that would be like the only one that like I would look at that's in a bad state where I would want to be, just because I fully believe that they're committed into rebuilding and remolding into whatever is needed. However, I think they have the head coach for that. So that's off the board. I think Chicago's really should be the only one that should be enticing them, honestly. You look at the Saints, there's just not much to work with there. Yes, even Kamara, who signed, you might not even have the guarantee of him wanting to be there in a year because that's already been a rocky relationship. Their best receivers, injury prone. I want no part of that. And everywhere else, I could see the Jets being enticing for him, but I just don't think he's what the Jets need, you know? So I could see that not working out because I don't fully believe that he's going to be trusted with the keys to the situation, you know? Because last time we given keys, no doors were opening. It was all the wrong doors. Here's the exit, you know? So I'm so confused when it's him for the sole fact of you don't want to just take any opening. It's got to be the right situation because there's going to be this hype, and if you don't live up to it, you're just going to be another offensive coordinator that couldn't cut it as a head coach, you know? So you got to be really cerebral in where you're going to go, and I just don't see anywhere else really making sense for him besides Chicago.
I'm with you there. I understand what the hesitance would be with staying in the same division as your former team, but I mean, like you said, Mazz, that offense is already established. I mean, they have weapons. You know, Keenan Allen's going to be a free agent, but you still got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Cole Kmet's still there. You still got a stable of running backs. The only thing you got to patch up is that interior offensive line, and you're set. You're good to go. Caleb's going to be good. The only thing I worry about with coordinators like that, and like everyone's always obsessed with the hotshot offensive coordinator, and that's what Ben Johnson has been these last 2 years in these last 2 coaching cycles. He's going to be it again this winter when teams are going to be looking to interview again. Not to call him an Adam Gase or anything like that, because he's clearly more creative and Adam Gase never had the success as an offensive coordinator that Ben Johnson's seeing right now, but it worries me when you hire a guy like that, where does he have the leadership skills to be a head coach? Because there's more to being a head coach than just calling plays, and you and I both know that for a fact. Who's he bringing with him as his defensive coordinator? Who else is going to be there as his associate head coaches, who are the veterans who have the experience of being on a coaching staff? Those are the questions I'd have if you're looking at him as a prospect, as a head coaching prospect, and I'd need some clarity on those answers before I even get here. When I think about head coaching candidates for the Jets, I don't even put his name in the conversation, because if he's been so picky with his choices the last few years, why on earth would he come to the Jets? Why on earth would he choose himself to come work for Woody Johnson, who I'm sure Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are calling all their friends and buddies across the league saying, oh, this guy meddles, this guy, oh, he's going to kick your door down and tell you to do this and this and this. I don't see him coming here. So if there is one job that's going to be absolutely the number one spot that these candidates want to go to, it's got to be Chicago, just because of the pieces they have. And that defense is good as is, man. It's good as is.
It's one of those situations where the team's 100% underperforming, and the places where they need to get better, it's not that hard to fix. It's literally just picture an unfinished Lego set. The foundation's already laid. You literally just need to put a couple of blocks in and take credit for it. And I'll be honest, that Eberflus firing, I was a little I didn't see it coming just then. Like, the beginning of that game, I was like, yeah, this guy's on borrowed time. But the fact that game ended up being 23-20 as a final score was just absolutely, mind-boggling. Like, I have no clue how they even made it that close. And then the next morning, I woke up and I saw it. I was like, yo, what do you mean he got fired? Okay, I guess it makes sense. It was just weird. I don't know. But if you're Chicago, you definitely have to be upset with how things have transpired. I mean, you've given a rookie quarterback everything that they needed, and still not looking great for me. There's flashes for sure, but it definitely wasn't the coaching staff to unlock the best out of them. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see, where Johnson decides to go. It's going to be interesting to see how Chicago works out. But I'll tell you, the one thing on my mind, it's not even rebuilding. I'm declaring shenanigans on the league right now, dude. I fully believe that the fix is in. I want to go back to the Kansas City Chiefs, my friend. Did you watch that game against the Raiders?
Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, that afternoon? Yes, yep. I did,
dude,
in fact.
Final play of the game. All right, Vegas is starting to drive. They call an illegal, they throw a flag, right, which I fully believe was supposed to be on a false start. The play's supposed to be blown dead. I didn't hear a whistle at all. The fumble ensues. They give it to the Chiefs. And then they sit there and they're trying to figure out, what's going on here? They call an illegal shift. There was no motion. Nobody shifted over. How the hell is there an illegal shift? Charlie, I've looked at this play over 10 times. I have not seen anybody in the front line. Tight end, tackles, guards, center, halfback, quarterback. Nobody shifted. I didn't see any motion from wide receivers. What the hell is going on here, and is the league protecting the Kansas City Chiefs?
I don't know. I mean, I saw an explanation a day or two later about how it was something about how in the last 2 minutes of the game there was something with a faulty snap is an illegal shift or something like that. I don't know how much I buy that. I mean, I don't know if the league is trust me, I know exactly where you're coming from. My dad says the same exact things. He thinks everything is rigged for the Chiefs. Ever since these last few years, ever since Jets-Chiefs last year, when we were at that game, when they called the phantom hold on Sauce Gardner on the Mahomes game clinching pick. But I don't know, man. I mean, I'd need to see a rules breakdown of exactly what's going on. I will tell you, yes, it was fishy as hell because the ref, the one side judge even comes into the ref huddle going the false start signal, and they flipped it around. I don't know.
But if it's a false start, the play's supposed to be blown dead.
Yeah,
they never blew it dead. So
right.
Even if you thought it, blow the damn whistle, right?
Yep.
So I don't understand. There was another illegal formation, but they let the play go. If you're gonna call it illegal formation, shouldn't the play just be blown dead at that point too?
I don't know,
and just
man.
give him I don't get it. I feel like if the ball snapped and it's illegal formation, the play should be blown dead. if there's a false start or an illegal motion, the play should be blown dead. I don't understand it, dude. But you know what? How can I expect transparency from a league that's given out 3-game suspensions on a dirty hit, but like it's the guy's first dirty hit? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't get it. Of course, I'm talking about the Texans' defensive back in Azeez Al-Shaair with that gruesome hit on Trevor Lawrence, which was absolutely dirty, but a 3-game suspension for a guy that, from everything that I've seen, doesn't really have a history of dirty hits. What is going on here?
So that's not necessarily true. He does have a history.
Yeah. Are we talking Vontaze Burfict though?
No. I'm not trying to like defend him or anything like that, because obviously the hit was uncalled for at the time. Lawrence was going down, but he does have a history. I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it, of roughing the passer fines and taunting fines. So it just seems like the NFL was kind of going out of their way to make an example out of him. Although 3-game suspension is a lot. I mean, 1 game I get, 3 games, that just seems like overkill.
Yeah, I'm fine with a 1-game suspension, but like I said, like when I say that he doesn't have like a history, nothing's been glaring from what I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't like nobody's talking about week in and week out how dirty Azeez Al-Shaair is the entire time. You know, so like there's guys that you just know where it's like, yeah, dude, one mistake, you're screwed. Like they're going to continue to just hang you out to dry like that. This is not a guy that, you know, screams that to me. 3 games is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you, the only difference between the non-transparency is the fact that the Raiders want to lose games. That's why they're not making a bigger stink out of what happened. You clearly see the Texans very upset because they're trying to make a push right now. That's a crucial piece to them. And I think the Texans GM made the perfect statement of, everybody just wants transparency and an actual rubric to follow so that we know what to expect. Not just roll the dice and whatever it is, that's what the league's feeling. Because that's what happens every goddamn time. I have no clue what's going on. We call it the no fun league, but really it's just like the no structure league. Because nobody knows what the hell is going to come the next Monday or Tuesday when they make these decisions.
So one of the funny things I saw was the caseworker for the league office guy who was assigned to the case and handed out the suspension is former offensive lineman John Runyon, and he wrote the whole thing about how Shaair's actions were terrible for the game, and he shows a lack of integrity for the game, yada yada yada. Someone like quote tweeted that statement with a video of him back in his playing days, of in between plays him headbutting a defensive lineman, it's just we've fallen so far, Mazz. We have fallen so far.
Seems like a little pot and kettle action going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey,
we'll see what happens.
That's going to do it for us today. I hope you guys like this new little format we got going on here. We're trying to keep things light and digestible for the algo, right, Mazz?
Gotta bend the knee to the algorithm, my friend. You know me. I like long format, but I understand that there's some complex code that I don't fully understand, but we do have to play by their rules if we want to take this farther. So, hey, I mean, if you do want longer stuff, let us know. Reach out. We want to hear from you. If you're liking the short, digestible stuff, let us know. It is what it is. We're trying to cut down on the editing work just a little bit, But, hey, don't worry. Pick'em's coming at you. Basketball pods coming at you. We're changing things up here.
You have been listening to the Mazz and Bad Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.